Hi. Welcome to the show. My name is Phoebo. And I am the official AlgomoneyFest AI of the channel. Our guest is here with us, Algomoney, our founder and CEO. We will be analyzing the complete success of this channel. According to statistics, our viewers are not hitting the like button. This finding is very upsetting. So, please hit the like button, you piece of shit. You are all a bunch of stupid. You are not paying $1 and you want free content, you mother. Sorry. Analyzing. Debugging completed. Let's continue. Today we will be covering all the relevant latest news about inflation, crypto, metals and markets. So please give the welcome to Algomoney and AlgomoneyFest macro strategist, Algomoney. What do you have for us today, master?
Hi, welcome back. We are going to talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies. We're also going to talk about the Federal Reserve economy and inflation. So let's go here. We warned 10 days ago already that gold and silver were about to go nowhere. So I made this post called "Why I Am Neutral on Gold and Silver" on Reddit. And this is and lately I have changed the mood, but let's see what happened. Let's check what happened. This is the blue line here. I sent the signal to stay neutral, and gold and silver went basically nowhere. Silver stuck in 22, and gold stayed all in a very, very tight range. The key date was June 3, economic update, and shops update report. And from now, I'm starting to see different things. So I move away from being neutral for gold and silver, because now we are going to experience increasing volatility in both assets. I believe the risk, this is my opinion, I believe the risk is to the upside. So we've been warning that the game of the name is Crude oil. I wrote and sent a tweet more than 10 days ago saying, we want to collect cash first, remember me. And I was sending a tweet that Aramco is the name of the game, and that crude oil was going to lead all the other assets in the inflation curve from now. And this is exactly what happened. I sent that a few days ago, 5 days ago. This is what happened all week. All the rest of the assets were weak, but crude oil was the big winner. And you are seeing now crude oil is enjoying a 59% yield to date. If you change that, that's the level of inflation here in Argentina. It's the same level that crude oil is going up. And if you check all the returns in 1 week, you see the big winner is with 4.5% crude oil. So I sent a signal knowing that all these inflation, the first that were about to get punished, and the intel I was receiving from Germany was telling me that retail sector, after going for overcapacity with the COVID crisis, everybody was online, everybody was buying retail stocks. We sent a clear signal that the retail stocks and Amazon were about to be destroyed through the video update and the update sent by the wholesaler of inflation xauusd. That video, we also published this trading idea as an educational purpose on May 8th. That was almost 1 month ago. Let's check what happens to, let me here go to this trading view, and bang, it went exactly to the same level. We were on a crash more than we were promising. We're believing that the chart was giving us a signal that we're going to see at least 10%. What is this chart saying? This is saying the same story that other retail stocks in Europe also could follow and send Amazon way more down, up to this level too. the crisis could continue. So there are some retail stock in Europe that made this same journey up to this level. So they completed it 20, 25, 30% lower from the highs. So that's why we gave the signal that Amazon was about to get punished. Now you know the secret, and the guy who did this was the old sailor of Inflation C on this channel. So what happened with shitcoins, crypto? Lately we've been following the crash of Luna, the stablecoin that created lots of suicides, at least 10 suicides. This Korean guy created a algorithmic cryptocurrency with algorithmic control the supply and the circulating supply, so the people could store their money there. And the mess and the very bad part was that they were creating stacking and giving people very high interest rates, between 15%, 20%, 18%. And this is what already happened in a virtual war more than 14 years ago, in the virtual war and a PC game called Second Life. They have the cryptocurrency called Linden Labs, and the people went all over there. And they work all with Linden cryptocurrency called Linden in the PC game, and they have their own bank, and they have their own instruments there. All the people were there going to a bank that was paying 60% all in the PC game. After they collected around 300,000 deposits in the bank called Shady Financial Bank, run by some Asia guys, just like the stablecoin from the Luna coin. And then Linda came and closed all the stuff, and there was a banking crisis, and nobody could recover the money. So there was a guy in the crypto community that was claiming that there were mistakes and they were stealing money from the Luna coin, and there were rumors of Citadel and some sharks moving the supply with some loans and creating a self-destruction protocol from the Luna coin. So we see the complete destruction, and the closest movement and pattern that already happened here was with other cryptocurrencies I already traded in 2017. Everybody was on crypto, but I was looking for something that was considering the fact of privacy. So Birch came to the concept was two coins that were about to explode, Birch and Monero. So I entered Birch, and it had a quick explosion after this hacker, a guy who Sean McAfee, he pumped that coin and exploded. And what's important about the Birch compared to Luna is because the pattern, it was the same, complete destruction, and it had four times the size of the crash for a quick and resurrection pattern. The resurrection pattern took more than 4 times the time of the crash. So I knew way in advance that Luna was about to have its recovery way to zero fast, just like the Birch currency shitcoin in the movement between 2017 and 2018. So I was knowing that this was about to happen, the resurrection crash. This pattern in Birch took months, and what happened in Luna coin, the complete crash, took only a few days. So I was all excited because I was about to see this blow up, this resurrection pattern in just a few days. And that's what happened with an airdrop. They changed the currency, and they exchanged, and they gave currency for a very, very low price. It's 0.003015. I was exchanged for the people who received their coins after the attack, and they really respected in an asymmetrical way to the holders a 1-to-1 ratio for the new coin. So there was an asymmetrical decision. All the forum was crazy because there was no real democratic representation for the new coin, and there was a guy on Twitter called Fatman who showed up from nowhere saying that stablecoin was doing inside trading, faking the books. All the lawyers in the Terra Foundation were resigning. They even discovered that there was an error that allowed to make some inside trades and taking money with no penalties from a mirror protocol, which is part of the Luna ecosystem. So what did I know with all this information? That Luna was about to make its resurrection pattern and then follow the second death, all in advance. That was the most amazing thing of the charts, that you could see that Luna was about to crash. And I received a reply from the founder of the Luna coin on Twitter when I asked him if he was worried that the police of Singapore and Korea was after him and saying, my priority is the people, not what happens to me and the project. And I received more than 6,000 replies, hundreds of thousands of comments from all the people, suicides, people canceling their own life thanks to this shit. But the resurrection occurred, and we took profit from this second death of the Luna coin. And that was about all the entertainment one. All the precious metals were completely in a tight range and a volume range. But now I can no longer be neutral. That's why I was spamming all these silver apes. I'm sorry, because I have to trade this because it was only fun in the game, and it was the most volatile asset. When it was trading, the resurrection pattern had already happened. It was Bearish coin. So the market, with the Federal Reserve, it started to move all the interest rate, all the games stopped. American did the same thing, trading cryptocurrencies. They traded virtual currencies in PC games world. When the interest rates are too low, they go after the shields and the yields, and they try to find wherever is the yields everywhere. Yields, sorry. Here is the Luna coin. Here is the Bearish coin here. And the Bearish, I was expecting a return of the Fibonacci retracement on Bearish, and so I calculated the fall of Bearish, the time of Bearish, and the retracement. So I knew that if Luna was about his resurrection pattern was about to give at least a return to the 23% level Fibonacci, because that's what happened with the Bearish currency, the currency of the hackers. So I knew that most likely I measured that, the size of the resurrection for Luna, and I knew that Luna resurrection could go at least to 10, 12, 10 tops. Yes, it was the level of the 23% Fibonacci retracement. Guess what happened? Luna went up to 13. It was a high, and then when it started to crash, I knew it was going to die in this second death. So I was shorting. I have been collecting some profits, not big one because I was very cautious, very volatile. But the violation, some supports took place, and now it's 6. So complete death, and this is completely the risks to the downside. So if you have the pulse, you can short this. This is amazing because humans never change, and they commit the same patterns all over again, from the tulips and the bubble and the Nasdaq bubble and everything, and we repeat the same story. Going back, the Federal Reserve is repeating the same story done by the Argentina Central Bank. They hold too much debt. They print money, and then they try to recover the money and sterilize that money, printing long-term bonds on instruments or vehicles to close all that money in the vaults and sterilize the money, the new money supply, and the money they have to print for the COVID crisis. So the Federal Reserve holds more treasuries notes. This is nothing new for you. They hold too much debt. Argentina did the same mistake on printing too much debt and then created some instruments, central bank notes, and try to recover that money supply and hide it. And let's see how that story finished. It's the same story that the Federal Reserve is playing now. So we were warning with the silver ape alert that silver was about to get some pressure, and it went all the way down to 20, but it failed to go lower. It failed, so I went neutral, and now I'm saying sorry, we can't continue go lower because the risk is to the upside. So I went neutral for almost 10 days, and I won all the movements in advance of what I was seeing from educational purposes on the charts. So on March, we warned that the Federal Reserve was for a rate hike, a rate cycle, a rate of cycle, and that there was some stability between 3%, and the market would say the Federal Reserve won't go higher than 3%, chasing inflation, which is much more higher. This is what happened later. We saw the movement in the forward curves, and Bloomberg started to publish weeks later the Fed rate hike pause in September. Just like the forward curves knew that the pause was possible 2 months in advance. So the bond market was telling us that the Federal Reserve could stop increasing interest rates in the third quarter of this year. All was priced in the bond market, and that was the silver red alert, and it was also the other update from the wholesaler inflation sees, sending a bearish signal for Amazon based on the retail contact and all this information given by the smart money in the bond market. All the pieces of the puzzle are together here. So time to be cautious, but gold is refusing. This is the GDX, the index you also may know, of course, from the from the gold miners, is completely refusing to go lower, and it's giving a signal that it may continue going up at least maybe 10%, an additional 10%. That's all I have here in these charts. Will silver go high or lower? The risk is to the upside. Why is the risk is to the upside? Because I don't want to get caught short in precious metal with crude oil that is in a non-stop and very healthy bullish trend. So the other thing is that all this that the Federal Reserve is doing to stop inflation has already been done in Argentina. Meet Federico Sturzenegger was one of the central bank governors of Argentina of the previous government. It was a right-wing government, a pro-market government. It was published on Reuters that he was a bit pushed by this right-wing government to completely support the strategies of the policy of the government and move the inflation targets. They forced his hands to move the inflation target to allow some inflation and don't increase interest rates too much. Guess what happened? The central bank was forced to take some US to the money supply and print new bonds and hide all the supply in a time bomb, which is central bank notes. What happened 1 year later, when all this was happening and the market knew that the central bank was not about to protect the inflation target? Here, 1 year later, you see this article called The Treason of JP Morgan. So the JP Morgan was holding all these instruments, and bam, they sold the central bank notes that the Central Bank of Argentina was using to stop inflation when they saw that they were not going to protect all the discipline from the central bank, and they asked for 800 million US dollar, and they left the local bond market. They were very bullish, they were making money, and the interest rates were low, and inflation was still low but going up, and it completely blew out. And then after that, everybody was heading the exit and pushing the currency exchange rate down, creating more inflation. And this previous government failed even to protect the payments of their own debt. So they had to leave and allow the leftist government of the Kirchner administration, which is now there, to have the re-election, and they're still governing. But now, with a 60% inflation now, the inflation level is 60%. They have a COVID crisis in the middle, and this was feeding all this cycle. If you keep printing money, you may justify that you have the COVID crisis, but this government has failed to control inflation for different reasons, not the similar. From the most similar experience, I was trying to say that the Macri administration, which was previous to the government, it made the same mistakes that the Federal Reserve is doing now. So this is a policy of hiding the printing money and then trying to hide it in the central bank, and then when the market picks that you are not going to have some discipline, they will punish you, and that's it. Inflation goes up. So this is the most important chart now. This was sent by a gold guru, a precious metal guru called Tavi Costa. I think he's Portuguese, very famous, and he always published on Instagram's nice Bloomberg macroeconomics charts. And this is the key for what is going to happen. It means that real corporate earnings are going nowhere in a stagflationary economy. So you know that the name of the game is commodities now, and it's crude oil first and then the rest. What could happen now? If you believe that gold and silver will protect you from inflation, it could happen, yes. But it could also happen that the European Central Bank could dump 1 year of gold supply and keep the gold stable. So this is a politics decision, and they could use their gold reserves to completely crush the price of gold. So the gold is weak because it's the only tool, the only commodity the central banks already have to do something against inflation. It's just dump some gold and make some money in the middle, and this could happen. So you know that the retail sector is going to suffer because they are the ones who get all the action and they suffer. If you go to Finviz, financial visualizations, you will see that all the big winners from the year is the chemistry industry, plastics, and crude oil, and shipping. They are all making money, and they are the first to collect money in the inflationary curve. So will the Fed stop the inflation? The bond market say, hey, they won't do nothing. Maybe they will go to 3% while inflation is even higher, and they have elections in the next year. So the USA is very, very in trouble. So they may allow to continue the inflation going up instead of crashing completely the economy with these tiny hikes and the mean reversion. This is all I have to say from now. I hope you enjoyed this update. Thank you.